Okay, so me and my mate used to go to Hull University. I went there from 2012 through to 2016, and my mate went a couple of years earlier. So we wanted to go there and visit the uni, down Newland Ave, and also Cottingham, which is really popular for first year students. So what we did was we got the train to Cottingham to start with, and then we would walk in to the uni, then into town. So we went to Cottingham first and we had a look at the lawns. Okay, so from what I can see online is that loads of stuff is happening with the lawns. So it was going to be sold, then it was going to be housing asylum seekers, and then it wasn't going to be sold, and it looks as though they are going to be putting some university students back there sometime soon. But currently, it's actually owned by the police. So we got there halfway down the road and we got this sign. So we actually spoke to some policemen and they were telling us that they use this site now for like practicing going down on raids. So you can see Ferrens there on the right. They will go in there and they'll badge the door down and they'll practice with it for raids. So they're using it to destroy it, and they say it's really not in a good position. And yeah, we actually spoke to some policemen who actually confirmed that. You can see the Lawns bar a little bit down there, and then you can see there's a bit of a wreck, and you can see that there's a police car there too. We actually moved from point A, which is where I took that video, and we moved to point B, which is where you could use to enter the Lawns. When we got to B, we could actually see that there was a car where we just were, so they were obviously keeping tabs on what we were doing. So yeah, from this point here, you can see there's a camera on that road right in front of me there, but you can't really get any closer than that to see the Lawns. So it's a bit of a mess. It's just disused and you can't see it. We then moved around and thought, can you get in at the back where C was there? But again, it was all fenced off and all barricaded, all fences. You can't get any further at all. You used to be able to get through there to get to a football pitch at the back. We then walked through to see Cottingham, and you can see that roundabout is quite popular with people. And then Needler Hall, which was used for some accommodation, is now a massive Aldi, so that's no longer there. You've then got the Co-op, which I used to go to a lot, carrying my bags from there. And down that road there is where Needler used to be. That's where the Aldi is, so it's like right next to it. The city centre, or the town centre in Cottingham, was just the same, to be fair. That looked really nice, quite a lot of people coming and going. Quite good to see, quite a thriving town centre. This was on a Saturday morning, so yeah, quite busy, good to see. The one thing that I could see that would changed was that this travel shop, that used to be like a bargain booth, so I was in there quite a lot, so I wanted to get that on video. It's now some little travel shop. So what we were doing from there is we were walking from Cottingham all the way through to the university. So that takes about an hour. So on the way there, we actually stopped at the tennis club because my mate used to play tennis there, and it was good to see that a lot of that money has been gone into the tennis club and it's a lot better. They've got paddle courts and it looks like a really nice club. So Cottingham looks really nice. The lawn's not a good nick, but Cottingham looks really good. We then got to the University of Hull, and from here, when you're approaching it, it looks pretty much the same, to be fair. You've got the Old Grey Mare there, popular pub, and then that bus stop is right there as well, where we used to get that to go back to the Lawns. And yeah, it looks exactly the same. Probably got a new sign there at the front, which is good to see. Then walking in, this all looks exactly the same. So when you're walking up, and then you've got the library on the left, so that looks all pretty much the same. And then what you can see there is the other buildings, and I know that the foreign languages section is no longer there. Right, okay, so this is the map. So in the middle of this map is pretty much where we were. The main differences that I think you'll be able to see are on the left. So that left-hand side, that's all the new accommodation, which we're going to go around shortly. And then towards the back, you've got those zigzags at the top in the blue, and that's all new accommodation too. And then next to that, you've got the new sports hall. So I think that those were the main things that were different. So there's a lot more on-site accommodation. both at the back and to the left of the uni. So that's why they don't need the lawns anymore, because all of that accommodation for first year students has now come onto the campus. So it's more of an on-site campus. They've also done a lot of other things, like a new data science building and obviously the student union, which we're going to go to shortly. But first of all, what we did is we went into the library. Now, my mate said that this had changed a lot since when he last came here. However, this is pretty similar to how I remember it in my final year at uni. We went up to the top floor, and this is exactly how I remember in 2015, 2016. I think that's when I graduated. And from here, yeah, pretty much everything looks as it was. So not much change. This is on the top floor of the library. Okay, and then at the back, you might have been able to see a little bit of change there. So that building on the other end of that grass, or the end of that pitch, that's what's new. And that's a really nice new sports facility that we're going to go into. The rest of it looks pretty much as is. So yeah, these desks, these laptops, those screen monitors and the tables and this colour scheme is all exactly the same as it was. It was quite nice to see some students in there working on a Saturday, early afternoon. And then, yeah, to walk around, this was a proper nostalgia trip. So, on the other side of the uni, this is where you could see this medical centre. So, that's the other side of the uni from where we approached it. And then this medical centre is all new. And apparently the Queen actually opened up this medical centre. So, on the other side of that then, this is where all that university stuff, accommodation is. So, a little bit busy with cars. But then what you can see, this is called Westfield Court. So there's a lot of high-rise flats here. And then on the bottom, you've got the likes of laundry, games rooms. You've actually got a restaurant down there as well, which was closed. But I assume that a lot of people go there to eat, hopefully. Not many people knocking around in the early afternoon on a Saturday, but you can see that there's a lot of accommodation here that people can go to. We then walked around the business school, and in my opinion, this is the most picturesque part of the uni. So it looks really nice in autumn with all the leaves on the ground. So this looks exactly the same, and I spent a lot of time here, so that was nice. Then we had Wilberforce, probably one of the ugliest buildings on the campus, and you can see that here they'd injected a little bit of colour, much needed colour on the bottom there, which is good. We then noticed that next to that was this really big building here. So this was like a data science building. So this looked really different to all of the other buildings here. So that was new. And then you've got the student union right there in front. On the right hand side, you can see you've still got that bar area from what we used to call Sank. It's now a Weatherspoons. And then you've got this grass area. And I remember this from seeing end of year ball. So you can see they've still got some benches out there, so people can still go there to chill. But yeah, I remember the ball being there, and you can see there I've got a screen grab from 2015, and this might have been my third year maybe, but I remember seeing JLS, Becky Hill, Tom Odell, maybe Rudimental, I'm not sure, all perform on that stage. So had some really good times there at end of year ball. So yeah, I hope that still get used. And I know that a lot of the AU fairs were on there as well. So yeah, quite a good place and quite a place where you can change it to suit what you need. Then going into the uni, as soon as you come in, this shop is still there, but it's now a spa. And at the back of that shop, you could still get all your merch and stuff. The Waterstones at the top of the stairs, that's no longer there. So you could probably get all your books online and stuff, but instead it's like this chill out room instead, so quite green. And then behind that, this is where the radio used to be. I did radio, so I wanted to check that out, but that's moved. So that's just another chill out spot, and you can still chill out in the uni on the first floor. Then on the bottom, you can see that the radio's now on the bottom floor, and then you go through there and Sankey's right there still, so that's pretty much as it was. So quite busy, to be fair, to say it was just a Saturday afternoon. Early afternoon, football was on, which is rare for Spoons. And yeah, quite a lot of non-students in there, as well as probably some students. And I liked this little chip spice thing there too. Thought that was a nice touch. Next to there, before you get into there, there is a little darts and a pool area set up. So me and my mate had a good play on the darts, and I actually got a 180, which was cool. But I think in my final year, this area was like a makeup or a beauty salon kind of thing. So that was nice and cool. And then we went to have a look to see what was going on in Asylum. So they were actually setting up for like a tribute act night, a bit of an indie tribute act. So you can still see that's been used and that's still going. And then when we were looking around, you can see that they've already got the gates up for people to be queuing in there tonight. So it looks like that's still quite popular. I was actually chatting to someone behind the bar who works in Sanctuary, and they were actually telling me that the most popular nights are actually Saturday, Sunday and Monday. They say that Sunday is actually the most popular because that's when the quiz night is. So then when you're walking away, you've got the buildings, and then you've also got the sports centre. So we could see that there was some ultimate frisbee on, and this is all brand new to me. So this is all brand new. So I've never seen this before. So there's a lot of ultimate frisbee, a lot of people going on, a lot of space. And you see they've got some fold away chairs there on the right hand side, cricket nets, basketball, football goals, whatever. So it looks as though it's an area that can get used quite a lot. Behind that, you've then got a nice little gym. So you can see on the wall there, it actually said High Rocks. So it's quite a high performance gym. So you've got your squat racks, your sled pulls, all those kind of thing. Okay, so now we're walking towards Newland, and I think that Cranbrook is always really nostalgic to walk down because it just reminds you of Hull. So these roads, this architecture is just Hull all over to me. Really cool to see that again. Then what we're doing is we're walking down, and we're going to walk on Cottingham Road towards the Hayworth Arms. So this is outside the Hayworth Arms. You see the Lidl is still there. We've still got that Sainsbury's. That Sainsbury's has been going for ages. Lime Tandoori is still there as well. And Hayworth has had a little bit of a uplift, new sign, so that's good to see. Next to that, in my first year, this place here was a place called Fusion. And this was open on Tuesday nights. So that's no longer going. And then the place next door to it, that's boarded up too. But as you can see, Prima is still going strong, still popular. And then you've got all these pizza places as well. So I think that's called Dreamland Pizza, Subway. So yeah, after a night out, I bet it's still thriving there. And then we went over to Gardeners to see what was going there. And this was, again, another busy place. So it's always busy in here, and people playing pool, having a drink, and again, mid to late afternoon. But you can see all of these benches outside the back, so you can obviously tell that they're expecting a lot of people there. So good to see that that's doing well. Then we walked down Newland Ave, and this is what we saw. So Roots still going, great places Roots, and then the place opposite, it looked as though they were just opening that up, but still busy going down that street. And we actually saw some people who were doing exactly the same as me and my mate, and just walking around and having a bit of a reminisce. You would get quite a lot of people on bikes on the pavement. There might be Deliveroo drivers, there might not be Deliveroo drivers, just a lot of people on this pavement, so it's quite busy going up and down there. Coming towards the end now, and then you can see here that Piper was shut down. So obviously people aren't going to Piper no more, and the wording of the front was taken off it, so it's been shut down. So it looks like it's been shut down all year. Then looking down the high street, you can see that we get quite a lot of independent greengrocers with the fruit and veg outside the front, which I personally wouldn't want to go shopping into. And it's quite a poor high street really. Then towards the end you can see Tofts here. It's been shut down, the windows are misted over, and that's empty. But I just wanted to look on Google Maps to see if that's always been the case, because if you look here, this was in April 2025, you can see that Piper was still going. So this used to be the place where you would go on Monday nights, but it was obviously open last year, but then this must be the first year that they've actually decided to shut it down. So another decline of Newland Ave. And then if we look at Tofts, again in April 2025. It might have changed names to Voxbox or something like that, but it looks like it might still be open, or maybe not open actually, I'm not entirely sure. But I just think that's a real shame, because Tofts was the place where I would view it as more Hull people would go there than students. But so to see that the locals aren't going there now anymore is just not good to see. So overall, Cottingham great, University of Hull, a lot of investment, Newland Ave not so